Hi everybody, Joe here from SHUTTERSPEAK Photography. Very nice to see your smiling faces again here on YouTube. So Luminar AI has been out now for about a week. Came out to people who had purchased the pre-sale and then to the general public on the 15th. So just about a little over a week for those who got it early and about a week for those who got it on the pre-sale. So how has it shaken out over the first week? Well, there's already been a couple of updates to the product, and you'll get those updates when you launch, but there's still some bugs that have to be shaked out as well. Want to step you through an image, show you what it can do, and I especially want to take a look at the local masking tool. So with the local masking tool, we can do a lot of things that would have been done in Luminar 4 using layers, but there are no more layers in Luminar AI, so we use the local masking tool and it creates the same effect of a layer, but without the layer, without the complexity of the layers. It's just a little bit more simplified way of doing things. Now, is it as powerful as layers? Well, maybe, maybe not. I guess I'll leave that for you to decide, but for basic stuff, it gets the job done pretty well. So let's take a look how that works, and let's get started. Okay, so we're here inside the Luminar AI software. Now, when you start up, you're going to be in the catalog screen, and I just want to throw this out there. The catalog screen is really designed for just bringing in the photos that you want to work on within Luminar AI. It is not a Lightroom replacement system. This is from Skylum themselves. It does have actually some nice features here on the side in terms of looking at all different photos recently edited. It will actually sort them into date by folder, etc. You can make albums. And it does have some, like I said, some nice features. However, as per Skylum, it is not made for managing large volumes of images. So if you're using this as a Lightroom replacement, it's just not. Like I said, this screen, the catalog, is for moving your picture from the Luminar AI catalog into the templates and edits, and that's all. So best for it to be looking at a watched folder and moving your images from that watched folder that you want to work on in Luminar AI into the system itself. So we're going to take a look at this photo here, and this photo taken at sunset, Bar Harbor, Maine. Obviously the foreground is very dark, and it'd be nice if it was a little bit brighter, etc. So let's swing over to templates and let's see what the templates can do. Now it very appropriately brings up the sunset collection, and this is a sunset image, so that's perfect, spot on, right? And we could just go through a couple of these really quick, and that really brightens things up there, huh? Impact, which might be the one that we'll go with, and that's just too much. So let's go with impact. Okay, and actually going to just scale it back a little bit so it's a little less powerful, and then we're going to swing into the edit tab, and we're here in the edit tab. So the first thing I want to do is I think that overall the image is okay, but this foreground here is very dark. It's in the shadow area, and I want to bring that out a little bit. So there's a couple of different ways I could do that, right? I could do it with the light tab, but I don't want to affect the overall image, right? Because if I start messing around with too much of the overall image, I'm going to brighten up things that I don't necessarily want to brighten, and that just brings it way too much, right? So maybe we could just bring up a little bit with the shadows, but what I want to show you here is the local masking tool. So down here below all of these little sliders, and actually I'll show you this too in a minute. We can go down to the Pro slider. I just want to throw this out there while we're here, because this was a problem I had in the Pro slider under color harmony. The color contrast, split warmth, and color balance sliders didn't open when I clicked on them. So they would look like this, and if you clicked on them, essentially nothing would happen. That seems to be a bug that occurs in resolutions at 4K. If you lower your resolution, I believe I'm at 2560 by 1440 right now, the bug goes away, the sliders appear. Obviously it's a bug that needs to be fixed by Skylum, but if you're having that problem where you click on these sliders and nothing happens, you got to lower your screen resolution out of 4K. Okay, so I've done that, and the sliders appear. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for local masking. So down here, you'll notice this little pencil kind of hanging out by itself in a square. Click on that. At first you may think, well, I clicked on it and nothing happened. Well, because you have to click this little add button up here. And once you click the add button, you can click on basic. And now we have some basic tools that we can alter in this image. Okay, so I want to affect the exposure, and I want to bring up the foreground exposure slightly. So as I bring that slider up, you see it affects the entire image, and I don't want that. So now it's already set to paint mask. You have a couple of options here. You have a gradient mask, a radial, and paint. Gradient certainly would work. Radial, not so much really, and paint, it certainly would work. So I'm going to leave it on paint. Okay, it's on paint. This would be erase. Okay, and you see my cursor is now set down here in the image, and now once I start painting, you'll see the pink come in, and that's the area that I'm affecting. So I'm just going to paint in this area pink down here, because this is the only area that I want to affect. And that's looking pretty good. And now only that area that I painted in pink is now affected by the slider. So if I bring this all the way up, you'll see it only affects here, and I'm only doing this for demonstration purposes, but it did not affect the rest of the image. If I bring it down, same thing. Okay, so now I can kind of use the slider to kind of get things to a point where I would like them to be. Maybe I could bring the highlights down a little bit, bring up the shadows, but just in that area. So now I'm only affecting this area that I pointed in here. And if that yellow's a little bit too much, I could desaturate things a little bit if I wanted to. Maybe desaturate the greens and the yellows till it looks somewhat balanced. Now that works pretty well. Okay. Now if I want to do something else, I can go to add, and again I can add another local masking setup. Okay, so now if I only want to affect, say, this building, I can just paint in the building. Okay, and now the exposure of the building, and only the exposure of the building is changing. So I'll bring it all the way up. You see it's only affecting the building. Okay, so I can just bring that up a little bit, open up the shadows a little bit, and you'll see it's resetting the entire image, but it's only affecting the building. Okay, and you can continue to build on this and add more local masks and more local masks. So you'll see my first one is still right here. I can click on it and go back to it and change it. Okay, I can go back up to the second one that I made. So is this layers? Essentially, yeah, it is layers. Okay, is every tool available in the layers? No. We only have these basic tools here, but with these basic tools, we can create a tremendous amount of very localized effects that are able to bring our image up to the next level. So I know there's a lot of people out there saying, well, there's no layers, there's no layers, there's no layers. Well, there kind of are. They've just reinvented layers and made them easier to use. Okay, so that's how that works. I hope you find this helpful. And if you did, please do me a favor. If I've helped you out today, help me out. Hit that subscribe button, hit like, and leave me a comment and let me know if you think that local masking is an easier concept for you to understand. If you had trouble with layers, if you struggle with it, let me know if you think that this new way is going to impact your photography in a positive way, or if you think it's going to affect it in a negative way. That's okay. Tell me too. I didn't make the software. I'd love to know what you really think. So there you have it, folks. That's what I got for you for now. Thanks for watching, and see you next time, YouTube. Bye-bye.